We're joined now by Democratic Congressman Adam Smith. He's the ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee. Thank you for being with us. And just what is your understanding here of this memorandum, this agreement, what's in it, and how much we can take this to the bank?
Yeah, it's really hard to tell just because, as you know, President Trump has been saying similar things for, weeks, couple months now, that it turned out not to be true. I agree with your reporter. It seems like the folks in the region now are saying similar things. So I think it's more likely that there could be something coming out of this. But at this point, it's really too soon to tell. I will say that this deal is desperately needed by all sides. Thomas Friedman had a great column this morning basically saying how this is a war where basically everyone is losing. We need to end this, bring some peace to the Middle East and begin to rebuild. Earlier
this month, Senator Murphy asked Secretary Rubio if the Trump administration was willing to release sanctions or release frozen money as a trigger for getting to a negotiation on Iran's nuclear program as part of a phase 2. And Rubio said no. He said if Iran agrees to give up uranium enrichment and their nuclear activities, quote, there will be sanctions relief associated with their commitment and compliance with those agreements. Today, you have Iranian state media saying that the agreement would demand the release of $24 billion of Iran's frozen funds, and half of that would come immediately upon signing. So that's obviously the agreement or commitment part there. Does what we've learned about this apparent agreement comport with your expectations of what the administration of Marco Rubio laid out about a week and a half ago?
Well, these are the gaps, and this is the problem, is, Iran's got their spin on it, we've got our spin on it, and you can sort of walk through the issues. When it comes to how much money Iran's going to get, Iran's going to want to say more, basically more sanctions relief, more areas. We're going to want to downplay that, and that's fine when you're, sort of arguing about it rhetorically in the public spaces, but what's in the agreement? What does it say? How is this issue going to be resolved? Similarly with the nuclear program. President Trump has insisted that the deal will be Iran gives up all of the nukes. Iran has said, well, it'll be a framework to talk about that. So that's where I think we're narrowing down. Okay, how do you work out those differences? How much money does Iran get? What happens to their nuclear program? And then there are also details around the opening of the Strait of Hormuz. I haven't heard Iran say anything recently, but at different times during this negotiation, they've said the strait will be open and we will be running it, which are two sort of contradictory points. And it's hard to say. We don't know. We don't know what's going on in the negotiations. Are they narrowing these points? Are they getting to, actual points of agreement as opposed to spinning each side? President Trump says they are, but he's been saying that for 2 months now. So we will see.
Yeah, because to your point, Iranian media outlets are saying Tehran would not commit to ceding management of the strait or restore conditions to their pre-war status. But it says that the memorandum of understanding discusses the normalization of maritime traffic. So that is sort of unclear, as the Trump administration is saying Iran is agreeing that the strait will be open. I do want to ask you about some other reporting that we have, which is that CNN is reporting there was a U.S. ground operation planned to seize Iran's uranium last month, according to 2 sources. This was at the point where the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff had to race to Tampa from a meeting in Brussels to get briefed in person instead of remotely so that he could brief the president in Washington. Were you aware of these plans?
I'm aware of the plans. The specifics of it are classified, but we've had contingencies for quite some time, to go in and seize their uranium. It's an extraordinarily difficult operation. I don't know of any point where we were leaning towards doing it. I don't know of the details of that. The plans are on the books. It's a high risk, very, very difficult operation. I think it's highly unlikely that President Trump would want to launch it. But look, logically, I'm sure they're having conversations about it. But no, I have not seen anything specific that said there was, okay, we're going to do this.
So ultimately, the president chose not to go forward with it. And I understand you're saying, obviously, details of this would be classified. But, just to give us a sense of when you're talking about risk here, your understanding of risk for an operation like that and the casualties that you would expect the U.S. would undertake launching a ground invasion like that?
It'd be very high risk because you're in Iran, hostile territory, and the problem is the uranium that they want is buried. It's not like you're sneaking into a warehouse, grabbing a couple canisters, throwing them in a helicopter and going. If this was going to happen, we'd have to be there for some period of time in order to dig down and access the uranium. And that entire period of time, obviously, if our forces are on the ground in Iran, they are vulnerable. So very, very high risk operation if we were to undertake it.
Benjamin Netanyahu, Israeli Prime Minister, caught by surprise by Trump's announcement yesterday. Israel has also said that it's not going to back down in Lebanon. How do you see, and they've talked, we should be clear, they have spoken, and you have a senior administration official saying that once all the details are apparent here, they're confident Israel's going to be on board. But there is some daylight here. How do you see the divergence of U.S. and Israeli interests affecting these negotiations?
Well, I think initially both Trump and Netanyahu, and I criticized both of them for having this viewpoint, took the viewpoint that we're strong enough to basically crush all of our adversaries. So we're going to rely on our military, whether it's defeating Hamas in Gaza, defeating Hezbollah in Lebanon, defeating Iran overall. And Trump bought into that. That's why he launched the war. And now Trump is realizing that it wasn't that easy. Iran's still there. They're still standing. Hezbollah is still there. And Trump, I think, is more aggressively now looking for a way out, looking for a way to try and stop this war. I think Prime Minister Netanyahu is still operating under what I believe is a dangerous misconception that he can somehow eliminate all of his adversaries. What Israel needs to do, what Netanyahu needs to do, they got to find partners for peace. The Lebanese armed forces, the Lebanese government, they don't like Hezbollah. Work with the Lebanese government. You know, there are Palestinians who clearly don't like Hamas. Find partners to work with. Netanyahu is still intent on just doing it, but through military force. I think he's got the cart before the horse. He needs partners for peace if he's ever going to get to the point where Hezbollah and Hamas are under control.
I do just want to close the loop on something, because yesterday you told my colleague Jake Tapper on this announcement that you didn't think that really anything had changed. He asked you if you thought it was real this time, and you said you didn't. Today, I'm hearing you say now that you're hearing things from other partners in the region, it does appear that there's more to this deal. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you have some more confidence in the fact that there's some there maybe?
Well, first of all, let me be very clear here. We're jumping over a very low bar. All right. I still don't have a high amount of confidence that anything has fundamentally changed, because although the partners in the region are saying things, and that's good. That's the reason for it more than anything, is that it's not just Trump saying it for the first time. There are actually, the countries that are working on this are saying it as well. But crucially, Iran is not. And that would maintain that skepticism. So sorry, I was overstating it a little bit early on, except to say that it is a little bit different this time. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, what was the likelihood before? It was probably about a 1. Now maybe we're at a 3. But that's at least moving in the right direction.
That is certainly illuminating of your thinking on this, and I appreciate that. Congressman Adam Smith, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, Brianna.
Still to come, the Pope has flight problems. He's just like us. Why the pontiff is having to